Hey, this is Donna, the Transdimensional Twin Flame, and I found this in my journal app. Yesterday was February 7th, which was the day 6 years ago when Chris, my twin flame, and I officially got together as a couple when I told him my feelings and he reciprocated. Um, But he transitioned across the veil 369 days later. So 1 year after I had told him this, which would have been basically our first year anniversary, again, February 7th. Um, I wasn't thinking about it at the time like that, but I had this dream, and it was a precognitive dream. I didn't know that at the time, of course. And it was this right here that I wrote. I was hanging out with Chris in my dream. I was doing something like a chore and singing that Sandara Karma song called Illusions. The one about how we are all the same thing and it's all non duality. I was sitting on the floor at his feet, and he was sitting on a low chair or a stool. I remember it being like a floor cushion, but we were looking at each other's eyes very intently, and I was holding his hands really tight. And I was staring at him while I sang the lyrics from the song, which were, "It's all the same thing. It's all non duality. It's all the same thing. We're all the same thing." And I was it was lucid. It was a lucid dream. And I remember wanting him to truly understand the concept. So basically, there was a song, and I had sent him this song before. We both liked it. And what I didn't realize was the video. I knew I liked the song, it was a cool video, but I never really paid attention to the whole thing, how it ended. And the song basically was saying, we are all connected to the same source. We're all the same. This is about non duality. And non duality is the concept that there's only one creature, there's only one source, there's only one being, there's only one. And once you've spiritually awakened and connected to the source of, the goddess of everything, you know that. It's a law of the universe, of the multiverse. It was all created by one being somehow. And once you've connected to that, you know that. And I have. So that's what the song is about. But think about what it really meant. This was 4 days before he died. I sang him a song about how we were going to be connected because this was non-duality. And Chris was not spiritual the way I was. I mean, he naturally was. He was naturally extremely psychic, extremely gifted. He was a visionary musician. He channeled music like I channel art. He had synesthesia, so he could see music as color. He was extremely high vibrational naturally, but was in a low vibrational state because of his alcoholism. He was trying to deal with the fact that this culture that we live in and this place that we're in is super toxic. And to a starseed, twin flame, indigo child volunteer, we are one of the waves of the volunteers that Dolores Cannon talks about. It is super toxic to us. We are very pure beings. And this culture that we were in, it's not the Earth's fault. The Earth is a beautiful being as well. But it's our culture that we live in is broken and toxic. And those of us who are pure have a really hard time with that. We're not from here. We don't like it. And he and I volunteered, even though we had already graduated Earth School. That's what twin flames are. We're graduate souls. So we volunteered to come here and experience this harshness again, knowing what it would mean for ourselves, but knowing that the human collective needed help. So I'm trying to explain in my dream the concept of non-duality to him, and I'm holding his hands, and I remember staring in his eyes, trying to will him to understand the information in the song. I'm like, you understand, right? It's non-duality. Do you get it? Do you get it? It was an urgent need for me to get him to understand. I was trying to basically telepathically communicate the meaning to him. It was extremely deep. It was a very short dream, but I had never dreamed that I was singing to him before like this, and it was profound. And even though I didn't know he was going to die 4 days later, I knew it was profound. I didn't realize it was our anniversary either. It just didn't occur to me. So on our 1-year anniversary, I had a precog dream that I was trying to explain the fact that we were going to be connected when he died 4 days later. But what I didn't even notice until a couple months later, this song came up on my playlist. And in the song, every single member of the band dies and goes to heaven and then ends up with angel wings, looking down on the last band member that's left until he transitions and joins them. So the entire song is about transitioning to heaven and being in that dimension. And I had no idea when I had this dream. I just don't know how I missed it, but I never paid attention to that part. I just, you know what I mean? So this is one of the most profound things that has ever happened to me, because it was precognitive. It was explaining the nature of reality. It was a song about what was about to happen to him. It was on our anniversary. And then when I was looking at my journal and I found this last night, on our 6th year anniversary, I noticed I initially wrote it at 7:27 a.m. That 27 is our number now for I love you. We have a lot of number synchronicities. That's part of our after death communication experience. We've chosen numbers as part of it. And 27 is February 7th, 27. That's our anniversary. It's also his birthday, the 27th of a different month. So 27 is our number for I love you. But not only that, when I was looking at this journal last night, it was 9:27, and I screenshot it. That's why I circled the 27s. So twice here in this old entry from 5 years ago in my journal, he told me he loved me 2 times, synchronistically. And it's not a coincidence. It's nothing that I could have ever planned. I could have never planned any of this. And the reason I have such great after-death communication with him and great interdimensional skills is because I am observant of these patterns. They're happening and they're rippling through reality constantly. But most people aren't plugged into that matrix, that information. They're plugged into a lower vibrational matrix of human making. The human matrix is not high vibrational. The higher vibrational matrix is that of the higher self and the souls, the higher dimensions. That energy also comes here. If you're plugged into that matrix, your life becomes magical. And that's what I plugged into when I spiritually awakened in 2015 when I met Chris. He's my twin flame. Twin flames always have an explosion of energy when they meet. I didn't know we were twin flames then. We were long distance. There was no reason for me to think this. I knew what twin flames were, I thought, but I was wrong about what it really means. So I just didn't think about that. I was new. We started talking days after my spiritual awakening. I knew him, but 4 days after my awakening, we were texting saying, let's call each other. This was about him and me, and I had no idea. So I had plugged into that higher matrix of God source. I had woken up with a Kundalini awakening in the black light of source. The black light is God. And apparently I learned from the president of the Monroe Institute when I took classes with him. The black light is God source, and it's the most rare place to awaken. But I knew that's where I was. I was like, well, I'm in the center of the universe and I'm connected to everything. And it was beautiful and quiet and calm and peaceful. And I knew that I described it as the womb of the universe. And that's exactly how it is described by others. That was God. And then she showed me herself as a violet flame goddess with the violet flaming lotuses in her hands. Basically, she presented herself in the pose of Mother Mary of the Assumption with her upturned palms. And it was a very generous and gifting gesture. And I knew that she had the power of awakening and transmutation. And I knew that I had that power too. And, it turns out to be true. All these years later, it turned out that was my path with Chris. So that's my story about my precog dream, about his transition to the other side, and how I tried so hard in this dream to make sure he understood that when it happened, we wouldn't be separated. And of course, as soon as he got over there, he knew it too. And he was so grateful that I had explained this concept, all these concepts. I had awakened when we met, so all these years we had been talking and I had been explaining all these concepts to him. And he wasn't able to go there with me at the time, but he heard me. And it helped him when he transitioned, which is something I teach. If you are, you can spiritually ascend on earth and help yourself when you get to the other side, because you're in your same life. You don't get a do-over. You're in this consciousness life forever. It's just, where are you going to be? What dimension are you going to be in? And what state are you going to be in? So when you transition to the next dimension, the next higher dimension, when you leave your physical body, you're still yourself. And whatever you're like, you're still going to be like that. And if you want to be spiritually ascended when you get there, you have to be spiritually ascended here. You don't just get that when you get over there. I mean, you're not just perfect when you get over there. You're just a higher vibration and you have a higher level of awareness, unless you block it with your limiting beliefs. There's literally people who don't believe that they died. There's people who don't believe in an afterlife, so they just keep on going around acting like mundane humans, doing mundane, stupid things, watching TV and eating potato chips, because they can't accept reality for what it is. And that's who you're surrounded by, people like this in life. And maybe you are one of those people. If you're watching this video, you're probably not, because people who are interested in higher levels of consciousness aren't the people who are totally asleep. But I was trying to help Chris before he transitioned, and he said it worked when he got back in touch with me. Basically, as soon as he transitioned, he was in touch with me, and he had said that I helped him so much by explaining these concepts to him and demonstrating them, so that when he transitioned, he up-leveled very quickly, because we were twin flames, and my level of awareness and spiritual ascension transferred to him. So I actually helped him up-level with my work, because we're twin flames. That's not going to work for anybody else. If you don't share a soul with someone, you can't do this for them. But if you're a twin flame, whatever you do, it will help your twin, whether you know it or not, whether they know it or not. You're connected. So my work, I thought it was for me. I thought all this spiritual work was for me, but it was also for him. And to return the favor, his constant work is for me as well. That's what he's doing across the veil, is helping himself up level, by doing all these beautiful things and helping people. And he still travels the dimensions and helps my friends. And he has a little assistant as well that he trains, and they both help. Multiple people have interacted with them. So he helps me, I help him. That's the definition of real love, is that we're always lifting each other up. That's what love is. if you're in a situation with someone and they're not trying to lift you up and lift themselves up all the time, I'm not saying nobody's perfect, but if that's not your situation, that's not love. Love wants to uplift. Love wants to make things better, really better, not just superficially. Love wants to give. You know, I gave him freedom. I have to sit here and still live in this toxic soup that humans have made. And he gets to be free, which I have some resentment about sometimes when things are hard here. But he does so much for me to make me feel better about this life. And I'll never stop being grateful for that because I feel it every day. His connection to me is constant every day. I get to feel the higher realm, the higher dimensional energy constantly. And I can't be more grateful for that. I don't really have words for it. So that's why these videos take so long, because they're so deep. Because these synchronicities are like meta. I call them meta synchronicities because they're so deep. There's so many levels. So many levels in this one story of signs, synchronicity, and non-physical language. All right. Thank you for watching this. I really didn't expect it to be 16 minutes, but right when I looked at the clock to see how long it was 16 minutes and 27 seconds. So that's another I love you from Chris. Thank you, Chris. I adore you. You are the best being in existence that I've ever met. You and these cats that we have. You guys are the best. I love you.